What is going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be doing something that basically all of NBA YouTube has been doing at this point, which is the tiers for the NBA teams heading into next season. Where are these teams at heading into the next season? Where are they going to end up? We're just kind of going off of predictions at this point because that's what it is. There's still, what, 2.5 months before the season starts, so we have a long way to go still, but most of the free agency stuff is basically done at this point. So we kind of have an idea of where these teams are going to be heading into the next season. So figured that might as well just kind of rank these teams and see how they end up. And it'll be interesting to look back on after the end of next season and see, you know, how accurate I am. I know for sure I'm going to be wrong because it's just the way it is, but it'll be interesting anyway. So I figured that why not do it. Here I have the tiers. So title contenders, close to contending, playoff teams, play-in teams, and tanking. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So before we start, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel for more NBA content like this. And also, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. It makes a big difference in helping this channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so let's start with this video and go to the New Orleans Pelicans. So I love what they did last year. Very impressive, you know, winning 2 games in the play-in tournament, giving the Phoenix Suns a decent run in the first round. They're going to have Zion come back healthy. I'm really excited to see what this team can do, and man, I'm gonna put them in the playoff team range. I think I have to. They're gonna be 5th or 6th in the West in my predictions, especially with Zion healthy. I'm really bullish on this team. Brandon Ingram is a stud. They have Herb Jones, who was all defense last year as a rookie. They have, man, they're just exciting to watch too. They have that Alvarado guy who was stealing everybody from behind. Like, they have just a fun team to watch. I'm really excited to see what Zion can do now because they were good last year, and I think they'll be even better this year. So playoff team for sure in the West, which is really cool to watch. I'm really hoping it happens. So now let's go to the Lakers, man. And the Lakers, man, you look at that depth chart for the Lakers, like, it is bad, man. Like, I'm gonna put them in the play-in range because, like, you have LeBron, you have AD, like, that's really good. Westbrook is not a good fit on this team. It's very clear. I don't see them trading him. It's just tough to see it happening. I don't see them getting Kyrie or anybody. So they're going to run it back with this roster, I think. And, you know, I think they can make the play-in team. LeBron's incredible. So hopefully there's some health involved. If AD's healthy, if LeBron's healthy, if Westbrook can just be just a little bit better than last year, I think they'll be at the minimum a play-in team. You know, I think that's the way it is because health and Westbrook, to me, those are the big problems. Also, and depth, which they don't have really at this point. So it's hard for me to put them in the playoff team category right now. To me, at best, I can just put them in the play-in range. For the New York Knicks, I'm going to also put them in the play-in range. They did the huge splash for Jalen Brunson, which I have mixed feelings about because Jalen Brunson is really good for the Mavericks last year, but for him to be your big free agent signing, to me, doesn't really move the needle for the Knicks, right? It doesn't do much for the Knicks. It doesn't marginally improve them. It doesn't make them a playoff team. It doesn't make them a top team in the East. To me, they're still in the play-in range, especially with all of the other teams in the East getting significantly better. It's hard for me to picture the Knicks in the 5th or 6th seed. I just don't see it happening. Maybe they can get 8th or 9th, but anything more than that to me would be surprising. Hopefully Randall bounces back after last year. Hopefully RJ Barrett can continue to accelerate because he's been good last year. And hopefully Jalen Brunson helps. You know, that's the best case scenario for this team. All right, for the Chicago Bulls, I'm going to put them in the playoff team. I'm going to do a video on them for my next video about how I feel about this team because, believe me, I have strong thoughts. But overall, I do think they're a playoff team. They were a playoff team last year. They're basically keeping the same roster, and they're just relying on health. And if they are healthy, to me, they're a playoff team. It's tough because a lot of the teams in the East did get better, and the Bulls didn't do much in the offseason. But I still think they're going to be a 5th or 6th seed in the East, right? I still think that's possible. And who knows, right? Maybe with the continuity under their belt, they can maybe go higher. I don't know. But I do think they're a playoff team. But could they also fall in the play-in team? Sure, maybe. But to me, I think they're a playoff team. It's just the way I see it. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going to put them in the playoff teams as well. I'm really excited to watch this team next year. Just not necessarily because I think they're going to be like really good, although I do think they'll be good, I'm just more intrigued by what Rudy Gobert does for this team. Like having Cat and him, I'm really curious to see how that fits. But obviously, it really helps your roster getting a guy like that, no doubt, right? No matter how much you give up, getting a guy like that really improves your roster, which is good to know because you still have, Karl Anthony Towns, who was good last year, and you have Anthony Edwards, who is a rising star, who is still amazing. So you have good pieces, right? And now you add Rudy Gobert to the mix. I feel like you're a playoff team. I think you have to be. It's hard for me to see not. Like, if they're not a playoff team, like if they're in the play-in range, to me, that's a huge disappointment. I just don't see it happening. With the Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to go tanking. It sucks. Damian Lillard's not going anywhere, obviously. But other than that, I mean, they don't have much. They drafted Shaedon Sharpe out of the draft, who, is interesting. But other than that, Anthony Simons is a good player. I just don't know much about this roster, and I don't see them really doing much. Maybe Dame can have an incredible season and push them up to the play-in range. But to me, with how incredibly deep the Western Conference is, to me, it's hard for me to see them anywhere but out of the top 10. So that's just the way I see it. The Denver Nuggets, I'm going to put them, I don't know, man. This one's tough. I kind of want to put them in the contender range. I'm going to do it. Put them in contender range. I love this team, and they were really good last year. Jokic is obviously unbelievable. We know this. But to me, I'm just banking on health. Jamal Murray's going to come back next season. I think he'll be good. Michael Porter's going to come back. He's a good player when healthy. And they have a pretty deep team also. So for me, I'm going to put them in title contender range off of the fact that they were really good when healthy. And although that was a while ago, I'm still bullish on this team and how they're going to be with Jamal Murray back. I'm excited to watch him play next season. And I think that this Nuggets team can really make some noise. Like, if they were a top 3 seed in the West, it would not surprise me. I think they can do that. And they can win a championship with that core. I think so, with Jokic playing the way he is. All right, OKC Thunder. I'm going to go tanking. Obviously, they're not going to do much. They have good pieces, though. SGA, Lou Dort. They drafted Chet Holmgren, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Other than that, man, they don't have much. Oh, yeah, sorry. They have Josh Giddey, too, who was really nice last year. But, again, they have a bunch of young guys, which is cool, but they're not going to do anything, which I'm sure OKC fans don't even mind. I'm sure they're going to be in the mix for Victor Wembanyama next year, which is fine with them, because if they do that and somehow land him, now you have something. But, right now they're not going to do much. Memphis Grizzlies, I'm going to put them in close to contending. I really like this team, man. They were fun to watch last year. They were so fun to watch. Ja Morant was unbelievable. But roster-wise, it's very clear that as good as they are, as fun as they are to watch, it was clear that they can give the best teams a run for their money, but I don't know if they have enough to actually beat them, right? As we saw last year with the Warriors. They didn't do much in the offseason either, so it's hard for me to picture them as a legit championship contender. So I'm just going to leave them as close because, who knows? Ja Morant can have an MVP season and just carry them all the way. It's possible, but I think they still have a couple pieces that they need to go all the way. And now that I think about it, actually, if I'm going to put the Grizzlies in close to contending, I think it makes sense to put the Nuggets there as well because there's too many question marks with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. I think it makes more sense to put those two in the same tier. So I'm going to do that. Dallas Mavericks, I'm going to put them in the same tier as well and close to contending. Luka was amazing last year. They went to the conference finals, which was really cool to watch. But in the offseason, they didn't do much either. The biggest thing they did was trade for Christian Wood, who, could help, but he doesn't move the needle for them. So it's hard for me to put them as legitimate contenders. Although I think, obviously, you're going to have Luka, who I think, will be an MVP candidate next year. He'll carry this team, and they'll be one of the top seeds, and they'll, go decently well in the playoffs. But in terms of actually being legit contenders, it's hard to see, right? Because it's still Luka versus everybody on that team. San Antonio Spurs, I'm going to go tanking. They don't have much on their roster, and it's very clear now after trading DeJounte Murray that they're in a rebuild, which is tough to see because the Spurs, my whole childhood, have been the championship contenders, and now they're basically at the bottom, which isn't terrible. They can be going for Wemba, But yeah, this team's not doing much next year. I don't even know who's the best player on their team. I can't even name it, to be honest with you. Like Jakob Poeltl, maybe. That's it. All right, Phoenix Suns, title contenders. They went out terribly last year. It was very embarrassing the way they went out last year against Dallas, but it's hard to not put them in title contender range. They're going to be in the mix. They had the best record last year for a reason. They just shit the bed against the Mavericks. But even with that, I think you still have to put them in the title contender range. Now the Clippers, I'm going to put them in title contenders as well. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were really good when they're healthy. And the Clippers are a really good team when they're healthy. And on paper, this roster is unbelievably deep, right? Even just taking Kawhi and PG out of the equation, having Reggie Jackson, having John Wall, having Robert Covington, Norman Powell, having Zubac. Like, this is an amazing team on paper. The biggest question for them is health. And I'm really bullish on this team, right? Especially with Kawhi coming back, they're going to be for sure a title contender. Golden State Warriors, I don't have to say anything. They're the reigning champs. They're the title contenders, obviously. Detroit Pistons, oh, what happened? I'm going to go tanking for the Detroit Pistons. I do like what they're building, though. They have some guys now. They have Cade, who was good last year when healthy. They drafted Jaden Ivey. They also traded for the Knicks and got Jalen Duren with the 13th pick, who is a really good center. Like, they have a core now that you can, like, build around. So that's going to be cool to watch. I think Cade and Ivy in a backcourt is going to be dope to watch. And if they can somehow, you know, tank and whatever and end up with Wemba, man, they have a squad now. But to me, this is a team that's going to be really fun to watch, but they're not going to do much, which is fine for them. They're young. They're going to be still building. They have pieces, though, to be excited about. So that's a good thing for them. Sacramento Kings, tanking. Goes without saying. They haven't done anything for a long time. I don't see them doing anything now. I can't even tell you who they drafted. Keegan Murray, I think they drafted, who they're really excited about. Obviously, he showed some stuff in the summer league, but man, I don't know what they're gonna do. They have nothing. De'Aaron Fox is just rotting there, man, and I don't even know if he's been all that great either. So yeah, it's the Kings. No, not much else to say. Cleveland Cavaliers, man, playoff team. The biggest reason they didn't make the playoffs was because they got injured and they fell in the standings, and it was clear they weren't ready. This is a very young team, but they have amazing pieces. Darius Garland, Jared Allen were both all-stars last year. Evan Mobley was unbelievable last year as a rookie, and he's going to take another leap this year. You know it's going to happen. Man, they have a really good team. And then Lauri Markkanen's good. Like, they just have a good group of guys, and it's hard for me not to see them being a playoff team. To me, there can be like a 6 seed if things go well for them and if they can stay healthy. Because Darius Garland's going to take another leap. Evan Mobley's going to take his second-year leap. Jared Allen's going to continue to be good. Like, this is a squad, man. They're going to be fun to watch next year. I'm excited for that. Boston Celtics, title contenders. Goes without saying, they were in the finals last year. And now the expectation is they're going to be at the bare minimum in the conference finals most of the years, right? And if they end up trading for Kevin Durant, that changes everything, obviously. But even without that, it goes without saying they're title contenders. They also brought in Malcolm Brogdon on a trade. So, like, they got better, too. Like, you have to put them in that range. Milwaukee Bucks, same thing, title contenders. Obviously, they went out the way they did, but Chris Middleton was hurt. You can put that excuse on there, too. And, you know, when they're healthy, they're so good. They're so deep. And you have the best player in the league in Giannis. So, you know, not much else to say. They're title contenders. Philadelphia 76ers, I'm torn. I'm going to just put them in close to contending only because I don't know about James Harden. Embiid's going to be amazing. They have really good pieces. Tyrese Maxey's really good. But, like, James Harden, man, like, I just don't know what he's going to be. We've been hearing all these reports about how he's, like, losing weight and he's, you know, looking really good and he's in good shape. He's not going to be as injured now, but it's just a big question mark. Like, we just don't know with James Harden, right? Because he's shown that he's been struggling big time with Brooklyn and in Philly last year. So I want to put them in the contender range, but I just don't know about Harden. To me, that's the only thing that's preventing me from putting them up here. But I still think they're going to be a really good team. It goes without saying. Houston Rockets, I'm going to put them in tanking. I like their squad, though. Like, they have some good pieces now. Jalen Green was awesome last year. he's going to take another leap. Şengün, same thing, a really good rookie they drafted. They got Jabari Smith. They traded Christian Wood, which was interesting. They have KPJ for now at least. So they have like some decent pieces now. And they also drafted Tari Eason. So they have like a really young team. But they'll be fun to watch, right? They're going to have entertaining moments. And who knows, maybe they get Wemba and that changes everything. But, you know, tanking is, I think, fair for them. Brooklyn Nets. This is tough because we don't know what's going to happen with KD, Kyrie. But I'm going to use this as an assumption that they're going to stay. Like, if the roster is as it is right now, KD doesn't leave, Kyrie doesn't leave, you have to put them in title contenders. KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons, that's a really good big three. Hopefully Ben Simmons can come back and look good. You know, he didn't play at all last year, so we don't know what he's going to look like, but I still think he's going to be okay because he doesn't have to do as much, right? He's not going to be focused on the offensive end. He can just be a distributor and a really good defender because that's what he does really well, right? So there's not as much pressure on him to do much. They have some decent pieces. Coaching to me is the only thing that can hold them back, but when you have KD and Kyrie, you're a title contender regardless. So that's going to be that. Charlotte Hornets, I don't know, man. I want to put them in play-in, but also tanking. I'm going to put them in play-in because, like, LaMelo Ball's amazing. But to me, the biggest thing is they didn't do much in free agency. And I don't know. There's not much to be excited about with this team because Gordon Hayward's never healthy. LaMelo Ball, to me, is the only, like, relevant piece. Terry Rozier's cool, too. But I don't know, man. And it's also tough because they lost Miles Bridges for obvious reasons. I'm not going to talk about that, but Miles Bridges is not coming back for sure. So they just are not a good team, man. Defensively, they're going to be terrible again. To me, at the minimum, they'll be a play-in team. I mean, at their ceiling is a play-in team if LaMelo Ball can just have another all-star year. But to me, that's it. Washington Wizards, I'm going to go tanking. Obviously, Bradley Beal, you know, re-upped with them. Got a huge bag, which is, I mean, good for him. But, you know, what else is there on the roster? Not much. There really isn't much to be excited about. I can't really name you much of the guys on the roster anyway. Like, Kuzma was cool. KCP was cool. Who else do they have? Do they have Thomas Bryant still? I don't remember. They had, what's his name? Danny Advia, who was injured most of the year anyway. And I don't even know how he looked. He was kind of okay. So, yeah, even with Beal healthy, I don't see them doing much next year. Orlando Magic, same thing. They got Paolo Banchero, which is exciting, with the #1 pick. So they have something to build upon. They have a really good core, actually, because they have him. They have Cole Anthony. They have Franz Wagner, who was good last year. They had Wendell Carter Jr., who had a career year last year. So they have a legitimate young core now to build around. So they could maybe make the play-in team if things go really well for them. And if, you know, Paolo can have an incredible rookie year. I'm going to put them in tanking for now just because I don't know really much else they're going to do. The East is super deep. And to me, best case scenario, they'll be like 10th or 11th. So I'll still put them in the tanking range. Miami, I'm going to put them in close to contending and not actual contenders because they didn't do much in the offseason and they lost PJ Tucker. Like, he was good for them last year too. You don't lose one of your best defenders and one of your best three-point shooters and still be contenders. I think they'll be close, right? Like, they'll be a top 5 seed probably, maybe make it to the second round, and that to me is like their ceiling. I just don't see them being legitimate contenders in the East, especially with the way that Boston has looked, the way Milwaukee has looked, and also with maybe what Brooklyn can be. I don't know. It's hard to picture it. Toronto Raptors, playoff team. They have a really good roster on paper. Scotty Barnes is going to take another leap, which I'm excited to see because he was already amazing last year. He's the rookie of the year. They have Pascal Siakam, who was really good last year. Fred VanVleet, same thing. They have a good core, man. And to me, it's hard to see them going anywhere. But, like, to me, their ceiling is the 5th seed. Like, they can be another 5th seed. Maybe best case scenario, they can maybe even jump up to 4th if Scotty Barnes takes a big leap, which is very possible. He has all the talent as we saw last year. So to me, they're definitely going to be a playoff team in the East. Atlanta Hawks, I'm also going to put them in the playoff team range. I love them getting DeJounte Murray. Like, Trae Young and him are going to be really fun to watch, obviously. They still have John Collins, which is cool. Clint Capella also. The only question I have is defense, especially on the perimeter. Like, getting DeJounte for your offense is great, but man, their defense is going to be tough. Like Trae Young and DeJounte Murray guarding the two best guards any given night. Like, that's tough to watch, man. I don't know how that's going to work. But regardless, they're still going to put up 130 points, even though they might give up 135. You never know. I think they're going to be in the mix, though, for the playoffs. Like, it's tough because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 playoff teams in the East range here, and not all of them are going to be there, right? 1 or 2 of these are going to be in the play-in range, which is tough to watch, but that's how deep the East is now. A lot of teams got better. Anyways, Pacers tanking. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. Miles Turner and Buddy Hield has been rumored to the Lakers forever. I don't even know if they're going to do it. Like, even with that, like, I don't have else to say. They're not good, man. Like, they traded Sabonis also. Like, they have nobody, man. It's just the way it is. Utah Jazz, I'm also going to put them in tanking because, yes, they traded Rudy Gobert and they got a good haul for him. And they're going to try to say that, we're building around Donovan Mitchell, but he's not going in. He's going to leave, man. Like, either he's going to get traded before this season or at the deadline or next year. Like, it's basically inevitable at this point that Donovan Mitchell is going to get traded. We just don't know where to, and we know it's going to happen. And without that, they're going to be not going to be a playoff team, even with him on the roster. They lost Joe Ingles too to Milwaukee. Like, they don't have much, man. Donovan Mitchell's a great player, but like, the roster itself to me is not enough to be even a play-in team in my estimation. So yeah, this is it. This is the tier list that I have for the 2023 season. This I know will age poorly. I'm just looking at it now. I already know some of the picks I'm going to regret later on, but that's the fun of this, right? It's just a fun guess game, basically. We don't know what's going to happen next year. This is just a fun way to look at it. But yeah, that's basically the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts on this list. I know the opinions are going to be very strong, so be respectful and don't roast me too hard. Anything else other than that, yeah, please subscribe to the channel for more NBA content like this. And that's it. Thank you guys as always for your support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.